Hey everyone, let's jump right in. If you've been paying any attention to Web3 over the last few years, you know it's been rapid, noisy, and honestly, pretty chaotic. We're totally used to seeing technologies, coins, and random narratives blow up and then completely fade in the blink of an eye. It's just a massive wall of noise. But in this analysis, we're going to do something a bit different. We are literally dissecting the anatomy of an authentic, viral phenomenon. We're cutting through all that typical social media static to figure out exactly why certain dynamics capture the imagination and the time of thousands of people all at once.
Okay, let's dive into this. What exactly are people quietly observing behind the scenes? While so much of the market is hyper-focused on this pure fast-paced short-term speculation, just anxiously watching charts tick up and down every single second, there's actually a much deeper layer being built right now. It's a really solid movement focused on genuine participation and collective behavior. It's this fascinating mystery, right? And it contrasts so sharply with the daily chaos and the need for instant gratification we usually see out there.
And the name at the center of all these private discussions, the short videos, the hyper-focused groups, is cross-prediction. And what's absolutely wild about this is that even though we're seeing this massive level of interest bubbling up in communities right now, in 2026, a huge chunk of the traditional market hasn't even realized the scale of what's happening. Cross-prediction is masterfully blending prediction, expectation, and the new digital economy in a way that's, well, it's quickly becoming impossible to ignore.
Section 1. The New Silent Movement, a Logical Evolution.
So to really grasp the gravity of what's going on here, we have to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. No trend just pops up out of thin air, right? Years ago, the big technical revolution was traditional cryptocurrencies, pure financial decentralization. Then, just months ago, we saw the massive wave of NFTs, which brought digital ownership and visual identity into the mix. Then Web3 gaming took over, adding that layer of pure entertainment. And today, the logical next step is prediction ecosystems. Cross-prediction is basically the perfect evolution because it takes all those previous puzzle pieces, the economics of crypto, the identity of NFTs, the fun of gaming, and crowns the whole shebang with social participation that's fully recorded on the blockchain.
Section 2. The War for Attention. Competing for your time. We really need to peel the layers of the onion here. Like, why is this specific platform getting so much traction right now? The internet today isn't just about who has the sleekest code. The real battle, the ultimate prize, is where you're focusing your eyes. And that brings us to retention. Retention is literally the most valuable currency of the modern internet. Platforms that can keep you constantly engaged, they have an almost unfair advantage. And prediction systems have something incredibly powerful going for them. They make you want to come back. Think about it. You make a prediction, and naturally you have to return to see if you were right. You come back to debate the possibilities with the community. It creates this continuous, highly coveted cycle of engagement.
Section 3. The Psychology of Predictions. Anticipating the future. So what's actually feeding all this valuable retention? Well, it's our deeply ingrained historical fascination with trying to guess what happens next. We see it in the stock market. We see it in sports. And now, we're seeing it in the highly emotional blockchain market. In the old days of the web, most of us were just passive observers. We kind of sat by ourselves reading articles or just staring at charts going up and down. But the new reality of Web3, it demands active participants. When a project takes that deep human desire to predict the future and turns it into a shared social experience, engagement just absolutely skyrockets. Users today deeply want to influence the space, they want to share their opinions publicly, and they want to build real social reputation. People don't want to just sit in the bleachers anymore. They want to get on the field.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how prediction systems grab that desire to participate and turn it into a highly competitive game. We're talking about social rewards, where a simple like acts as community validation. We've got status and followers to measure your influence. There's the fierce competitiveness of the rankings. And of course, strategic vision, that pure, unbeatable thrill of getting to say, hey, I predicted this before anyone else. It takes basic digital interaction and transforms it into a really exciting arena.
And naturally, we can't talk about crypto without mentioning the most potent psychological driver of them all, FOMO, the fear of missing out. In this ecosystem, FOMO is like pouring gasoline on a fire. It accelerates expansion intensely. We all know that gut-wrenching feeling of hearing about a major trend way too late, right? When people see their friends gaining status and racking up social wins on cross-prediction, the primal instinct is just to jump in immediately. Nobody wants to be left behind by the next big wave.
Section 4. The Algorithmic Viral Engine, How It Spreads.
Okay, so we understand the user psychology now. But how do those mental triggers actually translate into the massive viral growth we're seeing on social networks and its short-form videos? It basically works as this perfectly designed closed loop. Step 1, curiosity and FOMO pull the initial user in. Step 2, once they're in, discussion and competition completely take over. People are debating, throwing out theories, disagreeing. Step 3, all these intense interactions generate incredibly high retention because people simply cannot look away from a good debate. And step 4, the algorithm picks up on that massive retention and starts pushing the content out to millions of other people. It's a completely self-sustaining cycle.
And here's what actually acts as the fuel for this viral fire. We're talking intense debates, bold predictions, complex community theories, and social competition. Think about it for a second. When someone drops a highly controversial prediction, the whole community feels practically obligated to jump in and comment. All of this intense curiosity directly generates clicks. This isn't just passive scroll-by content. It is literally architected to dominate modern social media feeds.
Section 5. The Future of Participation. A New Digital Culture.
With this engine running at absolute full speed, where are we actually heading? I want to slow down the pace here for just a second, because this shift, it encompasses way more than just one project. We are looking at a massive change in digital culture itself. So the crucial point here is that the new digital generation doesn't just want to watch anymore, they want to actively participate in the narrative. A successful ecosystem in 2026 can't just be a whiteboard for financial speculation. It has to be a living, breathing organism. Today's platforms must give users a voice, influence, and recognition. And honestly, the social prediction model is pretty much the purest manifestation of this new community-focused economy.
It's also absolutely vital to understand exactly where we are right now in this timeline. Cross-prediction is currently riding what we call the intermediate phase. This is the golden era for any revolutionary project. It's when the foundation is quietly being built up behind the scenes, the culture is being validated, and the core community is getting deeply engaged. But the mass adoption, that general explosion for the broader public, is still just forming on the horizon. Recognizing a movement while it's still in this intermediate phase, that's exactly what separates the pioneers from the rest of the market. Which brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought to close out today's explainer. Will cross-prediction really explode globally? Look, no one has a crystal ball. No one can predict the future with absolute certainty. But when you combine a passionate community, organic social competition, and that deep-rooted human desire to be part of the narrative and prove yourself right, it is absolutely undeniable that a robust, entirely new form of social interaction is being born right now in Web3. Keep a really close eye on this because the way we interact with the digital future is shifting right before our eyes. Thanks so much for joining me for this analysis, and keep exploring.